Ark is still a dangerous place. And when it's time to go to war, we don't mess around. Today, we learn to use the metal that you've harvested and turn that into your own personal pirate battleship. On architecture. Avast, you scurvy dog! Let's count the cost and see what we need to get this build started. Obviously, you are going to need cannons. This build runs on 7 of them. And I'll give you an advance notice. If you're going to be building 7 cannons, you're probably going to want some sort of metal farm. If you've already got one up and running, great. If you haven't even gotten that far, may I suggest this video in the corner for my bullet farm. Obviously, you need metal for bullets, and the only thing you would need to do is run that ship with or without the fab to get a lot of metal up and running. If you're actually like me, and you have yourself based here in my favorite of all places, of all maps, which is Viking Bay on the Ragnarok map, there's actually a specially designed metal farm to take advantage of the Pelagornis Bay cliffs just outside the port and around the corner. That link here. Once you've actually got the metal to build the cannons and anything else you want, let's take a look at the shopping list you'll need to build today's pirate battleship. Beyond the cannons, you are going to need a raft, of course, and then you will also need 8 wood foundations. You will also want a wooden ceiling, 8 wooden hatch frames, a singular triangular wooden ceiling. You will want 4 wooden You will want 4 triangular wooden foundations. We will also need 6 wooden door frames, 7 wooden walls, 2 wooden ramps, a wooden ladder, 4 wooden fence foundations, 27 S plus wooden railings. I use the S plus because I do convert these to half walls to give us room to fit things yet aesthetically be pleasing. And then you will need installation equipment. You'll need, of course, thatch ceilings, as well as a wooden pillar, and a few bits of furniture for the machine, which will be 2 large storage boxes, a preservation bin, a rope ladder, a campfire. You will want an S plus double door frame, as well as a S plus double door. That is the essentials. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab the gear we need to start with the build. Let's go ahead and start with both the triangular and the rectangular foundations. To get them built, we of course need wooden pillar, ceilings, and at least some of the wooden foundations. Alright, this ship's build will actually be simply 2 foundations wide, so that means we start off by putting our foundation running parallel along the crossbeam of the raft as always, but instead of centering it on the mast hole, we are wanting the edge of it to be in the center of the mast hole. And I call that pretty good. So then we go ahead and drop the wooden pillar. Then we fill up the baseline. Once you've got a couple of foundations in, remember to clean up your mess. Alright, and once you've got the boat together, I'll give you the overhead view. This is actually going to be one of the most boat-looking foundations that I've ever put together. Usually I acknowledge it's a little bit blocky, but what you have is your standard 2 wide by 4 wide square foundation with 4 triangular foundations, just putting a point at the front. Pretty standard, pretty basic, but I wanted to give you this view so you could visualize it to help build it quicker for you. Once you've got the foundation down, we're going to go ahead and grab those door frames, and this is also a good opportunity to get those ramps. We'll use a couple of walls. Alright, in fact, let's go ahead and before we forget about it, drop a pair of ramps off of the rear. You can use whichever one you prefer, but because your character is always sailing the raft with his right hand standing to the left of the rudder, I always like to put my door on the left of the rudder, which would be okay. And then with wood designs, I always like to put the split side on the outside, purely for aesthetics. Then we're going to go ahead and grab a couple of the full-size walls and just build what's going to be basically the steering compartment. Then we're going to go ahead and get some of those doorways. Now this is one build that I actually use standard vanilla doorways because I don't treat them as doors. These are going to be the portholes for the cannons to shoot for. That way your cannons are a little bit protected when you engage in battle on this thing. And we're going to go ahead and tap E and get those placed inverted so that the bark's inside and the smooth side is outside, again for aesthetic reasons only. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. We're going to put in 3 doorways along the side. Once you've got the cannon doors set, go ahead and grab a few more of those walls. And we're just going to finish the perimeter of the below deck of the ship. Once you've got the first level completed, then we're going to grab those railings. We're going to go ahead and put a railing on top of all of these. And you don't need to convert it because it will align itself with the structure that it is placed upon. Okay, once you've got the row of railings put around the ship, I like to convert the ones that are over the doorways to solid walls, and then leave the ones that are over the solid walls to kind of give a window effect. Again, personal preference, but I'm going to walk through that for you right now. And then these two are the only exception to that, as I just aesthetically prefer them as solid walls right there. Okay, once you've got your walls the way you like them, go ahead and grab that singular piece of ceiling, We're going to put it in this corner right here that does not have your doorway. Then we're going to go ahead and start putting up then the hatch frame. This one here is going to be your actual ladder hatch frame. So I think it's smart to go ahead and once that's up, get your hatch frame ladder onto it. If you can just find the right angle for it to snap. There we are. This way, this kind of becomes your doorway and your stairwell up, and you're going to be tight on space in this pretty quick, so I always recommend this. Alright, then over every cannon access, we're going to put a hatch frame. Okay, as we're getting towards the edge of the build here, once we're down to the triangle foundations, this is going to be a little bit different of a ceiling because we need to have access for this area for storage. We also want to have quick access through it for what we're going to store as cannonballs, so we want to be able to quickly get our cannonballs from our storage so we can quickly load our cannons because we don't want to be slowing down in a firefight. So the best access yet foundation protection I found is going to be drop a triangular ceiling at the nose of the ship. Then we're going to go ahead and attach to that another hatch frame down center line. If it'll snap for you. Find the
Okay,
right
might
angle.
have to clear the area up just a little bit, but if you get it cleared and in the right angle, you drop your hatch frame there, and then we go ahead and put our pieces back in. My apologies, everyone. I forgot that this is the order-specific build on this nose. Alright, now let's start adding some more equipment to this interior. Up front, I like to put a add a rope ladder for the simple reason that if I feel I need to, I can roll it back up and put it out of its way. Then we're also going to go ahead and grab 2 large storage units. And where we have this gap in the ceiling, that's intentional because we want to be able to stow the gear right here. And then when we are above deck, we'll go ahead and just access it from its top and pull the cannonballs up. Let's go ahead and go back to our captain's cabin then. You know I like to have certain pieces of equipment here for storage and just realistics of being out. So in the back corner here, is where we're going to go ahead and drop our smith, which is what I also use for storage then. Right next to it as close as we can. It's going to be where we put our preservation bin. And then right next to the rudder, where we will not be standing, is where we will drop our fire. And then if you sail this into cold weather, you're also going to be warm as well. You are tight on space in this build. Go ahead then and drop in the doors for your door there. Now you're going to be standing right here, so this is a build that I strongly encourage you go ahead and switch these to manual, unless you appreciate the sound of that door opening and closing often. Going to go ahead, hop up here on deck, take some more of these railings. We are literally just going to surround this with railings. Okay, once you've dropped your railings, you are getting to be home free. Now, We need to add a couple of torches, because the best fight is always the sneak attack at night. We don't need a ton here. In fact, I usually get by with just one here in the rear, which I try to put as close to the railings as possible. I really wish you could literally just stack these in the corner, just right on the edge there, but no one asked me my opinion. And then one at the front. It's close, but you can do it. There you are. And that will give you a surprising amount of light up front as well. Hop back up here. Now, I'm going to prep for one option that I like. Aesthetically, you may like the railings at the front. Functionally, I prefer to do something slightly different, and I'll show you what. Now it's time for some cannons! Okay, if you take a look, you'll see my inventory. I'm full of cannons. And if you haven't put it together yet, the entire concept of what we're doing with the doors and the hatch frames is that we are building compartments for the cannons to be operated, yet to be protected. Take a look through here. We're just going to go down the line and drop them through this. Of course. Now that's 6 cannons on the sides. The 7th cannon, you know it, it has to. We're putting it at the front of the boat. So when you are chasing down something, you don't have to broadside. You just go ahead and get up right behind them. As soon as you've got the angle, the only thing I would do is try to make sure that the rear wheels aren't overlapping the hatch frame door here. But if you've got that fixed, you've got her set and good. Now this is going to be a build that works best for a pair or perhaps a small group of people. You can operate it as a single player, but you can also see why I don't have a lot of room underneath here. So why I've got the access hatch up and down. Really and truly, especially if you get more than one player on this, you are probably going to want to be running above deck and firing up and below. And we'll show you how she sails. It's time to go to war, except no substitute. The Pirate Battleship is the vessel for you scurvy dogs. I'm Commander Tom. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, if it just made you smile, leave a like and subscribe. I drop videos like this every week. If you want to learn how to build the rest of the fleet, that's what the Architecture series is for. If you're curious about what else I do, that's what Commander Crew Favorites is for. If you've watched all of that, well, I still have something special just for you. I'm Commander Tom, and I will see you next time. Or else.